Now we would like to play several videos that were subpoenaed by the Oversight Committee and used in their investigation and criminal referrals. These illustrate graphic details of Planned Parenthood chief medical officers and abortionists discussing their illegal work. Let's go ahead and, Mr. Daleiden, I'm going to let you tell us about these clips, and we can go ahead and play the first clip.
So I'm not afraid of undercutting the competition. Well, I just went into this, and it was very good. And then we've gone through our first year. Yeah, I mean, I was looking at numbers of, $250,000 a year. And now, I'm sorry, say that again. I mean, originally they were looking at numbers of about $250,000 a year. Last year I did $100,000. And I know what's happening. And they don't have, it's like if they don't have the research to get it, then they don't. It's the same with ABR. Right. Yeah. Okay. Well, real talk. Okay.
Can you give us context of that clip?
Certainly. So that is a video clip from a conversation that I remember very well. That particular piece of footage was filmed by one of my fellow undercover investigators on the team that I trained in 2013. That is a video clip from a fancy exhibit hall reception at a top abortion industry trade show in 2015. These are the trade shows put on by the National Abortion Federation, which is basically a proxy group for Planned Parenthood. It's the biggest trade group of abortion providers in North America. At least half of their membership is Planned Parenthood, and about half of their board leadership is Planned Parenthood affiliated. That particular clip shows one of the conference sponsors of that trade show discussing her abortion clinics in the Seattle, Washington area that at the time were contracted with the company STEM Express, which is a biotech company that had the business model of going into abortion clinics around the country, purchasing the aborted baby parts from the abortion clinics, and then turning around and reselling them to various taxpayer-funded researchers around the country. And in that clip, the clinic director is stating that she had projections of making $250,000 a year off of selling aborted baby parts to STEM Express.
Her personally, or
her clinic?
Her clinic. Thank you. Let's go ahead and play clip 2.
I mean, we could pay you $1,000 up to $1,500 for a liver.
Yeah.
Because that's in such high demand from our.
How interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. It's just great. And I think the fact that there's for me, it's just like somebody to take it would be great. But I think financial incentive from you guys is going to be like to the people we have to get this approved will be very happy about it. So.
Right. The financial incentive would make people happy.
Yeah, exactly.
Is that what I'm hearing you say?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Did I hear her say the financial incentive would make people happy?
Yes, that's what you heard. That was the abortion services medical director for Planned Parenthood of New York City, which is one of the biggest Planned Parenthood abortion centers in the entire country.
Let's go ahead and play the third clip.
I would much rather do 3 or 4 passes than 15.
Right. Is that your average, like 3 to 4 passes to remove everything, or? Yeah. Tom's listening in. She's like, you take notes, son. You keep track of it. Yeah. Oh, you probably do actually. Yeah.
It depends. I mean, there are some that are like, I need you to make one more pass. Like avoid PBA. Yeah. I'm like,
to avoid the federal law.
Too close. I'm like.
Oh, wait, she's sitting there like coaching her, like watching how to.
No. But I mean, we know, right? Like if I'm doing a procedure and I'm
And it's
seeing
great.
that I'm in fear that it's about to come to the umbilicus, I might ask for a second set of forceps, hold the body at the cervix and pull off the leg.
Oh,
Or
so you
two.
gotta, okay.
So it's not.
Right.
Yeah.
See, so that's where if you've got it coming out to umbilicus and that torso area is also intact, that's when I start to get excited because that's all the organs in there that were right there.
I mean, I find that even if I can't get it out intact, I can still get you a good
Right.
sample.
Now, if you just do a disarticulation though, while sitting, so you just pop a leg off
Right.
or whatever, then you're free, right? Like it counts, and so then you can just bring the rest of it through all in one piece because you've already done a disarticulation.
Correct.
Yeah.
And usually at that point, yeah.
And you probably do the whole intent statement thing and all of that with the feelings. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm a little shocked. Did I just hear her say that if she can get a leg or if she can dismember the baby in any way possible, then she's passed the federal ban? Is that what she was saying, the federal law? So if she can pop off a leg, then it's no longer illegal. Is that what she was saying?
Yeah, so there's several different things going on in that clip. That is a conversation that I remember very well that I had with the chief medical officer of Planned Parenthood Gulf Coast, which is one of the biggest Planned Parenthood. It's among the top. It used to be among the top Planned Parenthood abortion centers in the country. Now, abortion is illegal, is a felony in Texas. So that clinic has been, as far as being an abortion clinic, has been shut down. But that's a conversation with the chief medical officer of Planned Parenthood Gulf Coast, as well as their vice president of abortion access, together with the two of them. This is a conversation that I had with them undercover, discussing how we might be able to set up a contract for Planned Parenthood Gulf Coast selling aborted fetuses and aborted fetal body parts to our test undercover company to then turn around and resell to taxpayer-funded researchers. And in that clip, what the chief medical officer is describing is how they think that they can try and skirt the federal law against partial birth abortion, where if the baby is coming out of the mother, is being pulled out of the mother with the forceps past the baby's umbilical cord, which is one of the anatomical landmarks, which is written into the federal partial birth abortion law, that if they're afraid that it's getting too close to an obvious partial birth abortion situation, that the doctor will take one set of forceps, hold the body of the 4 or 5 or 6 month old baby at the woman's cervix, and then use a second set of forceps to pull off a leg or two from the fetus, and then allow the rest of the baby to be delivered. Now, you heard me say in the clip undercover, that's when I started to get excited, because as a fetal organ harvester, that means that the baby's torso is still going to be intact, which means that you're going to have access to all of the body parts within the torso, the heart, the lungs, the liver, the kidneys. But obviously the baby, just pulling off, one leg from a baby who's 5 months old is not going to immediately kill the baby. That baby will still be alive, being delivered. It's just a live baby being delivered, missing one leg. So what the chief medical officer of Planned Parenthood Gulf Coast is describing in that clip is mutilating a 4 or 5 or 6 month old baby while it's being delivered in order to try to cover up their violation of the federal partial birth abortion law in order to sell more aborted baby body parts. And the second thing that you heard her say in that clip is that they use what Planned Parenthood National calls an intent statement, where there's actually a checkbox in their medical forms. Then this is mandated by Planned Parenthood National to all of their regional offices around the country, where there's an intent statement where the doctor is supposed to check a box before doing the late-term abortion saying, I do not intend to do a partial birth abortion, basically. And they feel that immunizes them from any accusations of having done a partial birth abortion because they, quote unquote, did not intend to do that. As the national medical director, the senior director of medical services at PPFA told me undercover, quote, what ultimately happens doesn't matter so long as they check the box beforehand. It's obviously it's a legal fiction. It's almost like saying, I do not intend to rob a bank, and then going and robbing a bank. It's still a crime. And the federal Fifth Circuit actually pointed this out a couple of years ago when a Planned Parenthood lawyer tried to defend this in front of them. But that's exactly what you're hearing in this undercover video clip from the leadership of formerly one of the biggest Planned Parenthood abortion centers in the country.
Mr. Daleiden, are any of those people in jail?
No.
Why not?
I don't have complete personal knowledge about that, but as far as I can tell, it's because the federal investigations of Planned Parenthood for trafficking aborted baby body parts and committing partial birth abortions, those federal investigations stalled, and justice has not been done in that case yet.
So these people are talking about ripping apart, barbarically ripping apart live babies so that they can deliver an intact torso so that they can then harvest their organs to sell to people that are buying their organs. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And these people are not in jail.
Correct.
Thank you. Can we play the next clip, please?
My coping mechanism is to focus on the baby fetus. Reverence for something that was once alive and now it's not. That's the hard part about this stigma. I have an issue with patient pain. It makes me feel like I'm a bad person inflicting pain. I take that home with me and I have a really hard time with it. Another. An eyeball just fell down into my lap, and that is gross. And but I'm saying to myself, this abortion is going well and it's going safely, so I'm fine.
So that clip started out in what it sounded like remorse, but really was the beginning of a punchline.
Yeah, that is a clip from a presentation that was being given by the individual who is responsible for running and managing Planned Parenthood's abortion training programs all across the country. They're managed out of UCSF, out of the University of California, San Francisco. So Teresa mentioned the Ryan Residency Training Program, which is paired with the Fellowship in Complex Family Planning. It's sort of a two-track abortion doctor level up program that Planned Parenthood has been running for the past almost 30 years now, I think 20, 25 years. Run originally out of UC San Francisco, University of Pittsburgh and UC San Diego were some of the early adopters of this training program. So it tends to be associated around the country with places that are hotbeds for fetal experimentation as well. So that's the national director of that program on that clip, who is reading quotes from what they call psychosocial workshops and values clarification workshops for the medical students and the newly minted doctors that they are training and grooming to do later and later abortion procedures. And as most people might expect, if it becomes your job week after week, month after month to go in and do 20 to 30 to 40 dismemberment abortions on 4 and 5 and 6 month old babies every weekend, most people start to, even people who are very committed to a pro-abortion ideology, start to have a really difficult time with that. And so you're hearing her read quotes from some of these workshops and some of these seminars with abortion doctors in training saying, my coping mechanism is to focus on reverence for the baby that was once alive and now it's dead because I killed it through the abortion. And then you're also hearing her describe one of them talk about doing an abortion and the eyeball of the baby fell down into their lap, and that's gross. And then you hear this is an audience of 200 to 300 late-term abortion doctors in this fancy hotel room, and they all laugh and applaud. By the way, the CEO of one of the main federal contractors for supplying aborted baby organs to the NIH and the NIH-funded researchers, Advanced Bioscience Resources, was seated in the front row of that seminar, and was one of the people who laughed and applauded the loudest at that line.
It's unbelievable. Okay, let's do the final clip, please.
Only because
So 30 to 50 so-called tissue samples are a good month for an abortion clinic. That's what she was talking about. Tissue being lungs and body parts and organs. Can you elaborate on that conversation?
Yeah, so that's again, this is another conversation with the abortion leadership of Planned Parenthood Gulf Coast, which some viewers may actually be familiar with their now iconic building. It's the big building that looks like a kind of shaped like a cash register, or some people think a ziggurat in Houston. And that is one of that actually until the abortion part of it was shut down after the law took effect in Texas, that was the largest abortion clinic in the Western Hemisphere. So that's one of Planned Parenthood's mega clinics, as they're called. They in this conversation, talking about 30 to 50 specimens of aborted baby body parts per month. That's just the second trimester fetuses that they're talking about. Those are just the later abortions that they're talking about, 30 to 50 a month at that single clinic. In this conversation about, again, a conversation about creating a contract to sell aborted baby body parts to a biotech company. The other line that is interesting in that conversation, and I don't know if it, I don't know if people caught it, it may have gone by kind of quickly, is the Vice President of Abortion Access is talking about the quality or the intactness of the aborted babies as they're coming out and what's available. And she says that sometimes they come out really good and it's like there's only just an arm that's disarticulated. So she's describing, again, a baby that comes out entirely whole except just missing an arm because just the arm has been pulled off with the forceps during the extraction. So again, that's describing a baby that's delivered alive, just missing an arm. And she's describing this as something that historically they have seen at that clinic in Houston.